Monday will make history, a date that will force the future of Europe, maybe even the entire world, into a new chapter. Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin have laid their cards on the table, and the demands now revealed are nothing less than a political bombshell. The territorial claims Putin presented after the Alaska summit have shaken Ukraine to its core. Volodymyr Zelensky is furious, yet he knows, on Monday at the White House, his fate will be sealed. He will either return home as president or leave as a failed statesman pushed into exile. And Donald Trump has made it brutally clear, either there is a deal or escalation begins immediately. Washington is bracing for a meeting that can hardly be overstated in its drama. Outside the White House, journalists from all over the world are already gathering, cameras and lights ready to capture every single move. Behind the scenes, the tension is almost tangible. Trump, the strong man of the Oval Office, has hardened his position in recent days. Putin, with 40 years of experience and a confident military campaign behind him, sits firmly in control. And Zelensky, president of a war-weary and bleeding nation, stands with his back against the wall. But the one burning question hovering above it all is this: what happens if he refuses? The broader context explains why this situation is so explosive. Russia now controls almost 1/5 of Ukraine, according to official figures. The eastern regions, which have long been a powder keg, are at the center of Putin's demands. He is insisting that Ukraine withdraw entirely from Donetsk, not partially, not gradually, but completely. On top of that, he wants the currently Russian-held territories in Zaporizhia and Kherson to be permanently annexed. The Financial Times and Reuters confirmed these details, and they are the ones shaking the political ground. Because only weeks ago Putin still spoke of a possible ceasefire, but that option is now gone. Why the sudden hard line? Because the Russian army has achieved massive breakthroughs on the battlefield in recent days. According to official reports, Russian forces have breached Ukrainian defenses at several points in the east, capturing ground that was once considered relatively secure. This changes everything. Putin can now say, "We are winning militarily, we set the terms." And that is exactly what he told Donald Trump in Alaska. No translators, no intermediaries, direct, unfiltered, unmistakable. Trump, stepping in as mediator, recognized the reality. Reuters reported that he already pressured Zelensky by phone to finally agree to a deal. His argument: Russia is a military superpower, Ukraine is not. The longer Zelensky delays, the more territory will be lost, until eventually not just Donbass, but possibly even Kyiv and Odessa fall. A sentence that landed like a thunderclap, because in that moment, Trump openly admitted, without a deal, Ukraine has almost no chance of survival. But Zelensky remains defiant. On the platform X, he declared that peace without a ceasefire makes no sense. Stopping the killing is the key factor, he said, a statement that sounds moral, but in Washington, it is seen as stubbornness, even denial of reality. And that is why many observers expect the Monday meeting in the White House to erupt into open conflict. The atmosphere is already charged. European leaders are flying to Washington to support Zelensky, but that too adds tension. The US Treasury Secretary said only days ago that Europeans should stop making constant demands on Washington while the US is trying to negotiate with Moscow. It highlights a rift in the Western alliance. While many EU countries still speak of victory, Trump openly talks about compromise, a compromise that would be bitter and painful for Kyiv. Putin's role is particularly dangerous. In his post-summit remarks, he stressed that there will be no half measures. He spoke of a fair solution, by which he meant that Ukraine must acknowledge the roots of the conflict. In other words, Russia not only wants land, it wants political and historical legitimacy for its claims. That makes this moment so perilous, because if Zelensky agrees, he risks being branded a traitor. If he refuses, he risks being overrun militarily. The options for Monday are crystal clear, and each one explosive. Option 1. Zelensky signs the deal, calls new elections and tries to save his presidency. Option 2, he refuses, and then Ukraine's parliament or its speaker signs the deal instead, sidelining Zelensky in a political earthquake. Option 3, a military coup, a transitional government, and then elections under new leadership. These are not speculations. They were outlined by Ukrainian MPs themselves in recent interviews. And above all hangs the question, will Zelensky even return safely from Washington? Rumors have swirled for weeks that an exile plan in London is already prepared, a scenario that sounds dramatic but cannot be ruled out, given how the last days have unfolded. The threat of escalation is not sometime in the future, it's Monday. That explains the sheer urgency. Trump wants results, Putin wants territory, and Zelensky is caught in between, squeezed by expectations, threats, and a military reality that grows more brutal by the hour. What does this mean for Europe, for Germany, for NATO, for the global order? It means that on Monday, a decision could be made that redraws borders, shatters alliances, and reshapes power balances for years to come. And it means we are witnessing a moment where history is not written, it is forced. The question for you, the audience, is this: which option will become reality? Capitulation through a signed deal, Zelensky being stripped of power by parliament, or the shocking step of a military coup? Monday will give us the answer, but whatever it is, Europe will never be the same again.
And right now, at this very moment, diplomats are flying, advisors are drafting papers, intelligence services are reporting every movement. Monday is the day when the masks come off. And we all know, what happens in the White House is not about just 3 men, Putin, Trump, Zelensky. It affects every single one of us. It will decide whether Europe enters a phase of peace or slides into an escalation that no one can control.
Just imagine the headlines Monday night: deal signed, war ended, or talks collapse, Russia advances further. These are not distant scenarios, these are the only 2 paths left. And the burning question is, who will bear responsibility for what happens next? We are at a point where words have become weapons, where hesitation can topple nations. Monday decides whether Ukraine has a future, whether Russia achieves its goal, and whether America can truly still play the role of great mediator it has long claimed. That's why I want to hear from you. Do you think Zelensky will sign on Monday, or will he not even return to Kyiv? Tell me in the comments below. And if this video helped you understand the stakes more clearly, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Because Monday night, I'll break down live with you what was decided in Washington and what it means for all of us.
Stay alert, stay critical, and I'll see you Monday.